game we selected after choosing one of 4 SNES games was Demon's Crest.
The game everybody selected, by the way.
Yes, everybody. I think there was about 15 votes for Demon's Crest and some other votes for, and it was very close between Demon's Crest and Super Mario World. Everyone voted for it, Nick, but what else happened?
Nobody played it. But you did, and Dennis did, and I did as well.
Did you finish it?
No.
Okay. And I know a man who's not here today, Greg. Well, in the introduction, I didn't say Greg's not with us, did I? Oh, sorry, Greg.
Greg did leave one comment, which we can begin with.
Yes.
Demon's Crest is effing garbage.
Yeah. And then followed by, that comment is gold. Yes, Greg did not like his time with Demon's Crest. He canned it very, very early after getting very, very irritated with it. And I can see where he's coming from, but a bit more about that later. Now, Demon's Crest started, obviously, life as ghouls and ghosts and goblins. There was an enemy in it in the West called Firebrand. And Arima, Red Arima is his name in Japan. And he was taken out for his own little game in the Game Boy Adventure Gargoyle's Quest, Ghosts and Goblins, which was developed by Capcom, released in 1990. Did you play that original Game Boy game?
Nope.
I did, and this is where I thought Demon's Crest would be better than it is. If you go back and play that Game Boy game, from my memory anyway, it was fantastic. It was more linear. It had, the same kind of elements of you can fly forever, when you jump and then you can float and then you can just move across the screen. But there was less verticality to it.
Right.
And some very clever platforming, some nice bosses, underwater bosses, big fish. It had a very good-looking visual, slightly more chunky but it felt like when you were fighting a boss, like Link's Awakening. I loved it on the Game Boy. And then they released the second game, which was a spin-off for the NES, called Gargoyle's Quest. Gargoyle's Quest 2 in 1992. And then this is actually the third game in the series, 1994, SNES game, Demon's Crest. Nick, what are your first impressions of it? The first time you loaded it up and saw what was going on.
I think when you jump, because you jump into the first level straight away, don't you?
Yeah.
And obviously no instruction manual. No back of the box to look at to see what you're doing.
Nothing.
And I liked it. I got to the end of the first level pretty easily. I don't think I died. I think I did the first level without dying. And I thought it was all right. Like, I actually quite enjoyed it. And it felt kind of responsive. The graphics were not bad. The music is, in the first level, the music's quite nice as well. It's not bad, but it's not great, but it's not bad. And yeah, I like the fact that you press A and you do that like attack when you attack the background, don't you?
Statues you can smash.
So I was smashing the statues, and I liked it, like how you can grip to the wall and then jump, and like I figured out that you could float forever as well after doing that for a while. So first impressions were actually pretty positive.
Yeah, same here. That first level is quite. It's got that Capcom feel, hasn't it? If you played Mega Man X, and it's
feels
kind of,
very
oh my
much.
God, it feels like I gotta lose here. This huge dragon is chasing you from the left. You're running to the right, and then you're stuck against the wall.
I completely forgot about that. That it starts with a boss fight.
Yeah, it starts with the boss fight, and you're shooting the boss, and then all of a sudden he dies, and you jump through to the next screen, and then he sticks his head
back
through, and then you just finish him off. What a fantastic opening!
No, that was really cool. I completely forgot about that, but yes, the boss fight at the beginning is great. That's a really good way to start.
What I also realised is that you can't die on the boss fight. I thought, oh no, he's hitting me, and your health bar doesn't go down.
Oh really?
So it really, yeah. So it's tailored there for okay. Once you realise that, okay, you can hammer into him, and he doesn't shoot enough anyway to kill you. I don't think before you can take him down. But no, really fascinating opening, and set things up, and I thought, oh, here we go. This is going to be fantastic, because it kind of, like you said, with the floating mechanics, the jump mechanics, they all felt right.
Mm-hmm.
The graphics are nice and chunky, but and well animated.
Mm-hmm.
As I forgot his name, Firebrand is walking away, and it kind of lived up to the promise of the Game Boy game. Because once again, this is the first time I have played Demon's Crest.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the same for you, Nick?
Yeah, it's the very first time I played it. Yeah, I never played it before.
Yeah, it's a game that I've been meant to play because I love the Game Boy game so much. I've meant to play for a long, long time. So I'm glad I got to play it. So early impressions, very positive. Character movement, great. Now, once you finish that level, you get into this kind of flying section.
Mm-hmm.
What was going on there?
That's what really put me off it, to be honest. I was just like, what? Where do I go? What do I do? And because I actually started the game a couple of times, and the first time I flew around for a bit and then landed at the first level again.
Which, once again, no manual. You don't know how to land.
And I was like, oh, and then switched it off. I was like, I'm not doing this again. So the first attempt was pretty unsuccessful. But I think I tried. I landed in this. So I landed in the space where I think I played the game 3 times. And the first time I did the first level again, and I was like, oh no, I can't be bothered with that. The second time I went to a level where there are trees.
Are they on fire?
I can't remember. There's like different levels.
Different levels, yes. No, there's fire later in that.
Like height levels, I mean.
Higher, yeah. Yes.
And I just got destroyed.
It's like a jungle, isn't it?
Yeah, I switched it off again after that. And then the third time, I tried one of those sort of mini games where there's like a shop and you land and you have to jump and smash.
And smash with the A button, jumping headbutts, they say.
It took me so long to do that.
Yeah. Did you beat that right
I
now?
I did it.
Oh, you did it?
Yeah,
I didn't bother. I tried it once and thought, I can't be bothered with that.
I think it was like the 5th or 6th go. I did do it. I actually did do it. And I also tried...
You get the heart piece for that, don't you? Like a health container.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you do. That's right. And I tried out the second form that you get, which is the one that like throws something onto the ground and it goes across.
The Earth, yes,
yeah.
The Earth demon.
And I tried one of the levels where there's a lot of windows, and you can, and also again on different height, like different levels height wise, and you can like smash the windows and.
That's the shop area, isn't it? With all the...
Around there,
you progress to the right and then it opens out onto another level. Mm-hmm. Yes. It gave me also Castlevania 2 vibes as well, which put me off. As soon as I got to that second level with the shop area and I'm starting to talk to people, I thought, oh, please don't be an RPG this deep. I don't want to be going back and forth to different places and picking this up, picking that up, going to somewhere else. And it turns out the whole game is like that. Not talking, but going back to places you've been to before with one of those abilities. Because Firebrand, I can't remember how many there are. Must be 6 different abilities. You had the Earth one. Mm-hmm. But there's also an air one which lets you fly up. Because Firebrand's movement is basically jump, and then you're stuck to a certain height, and then you can float if you press the jump again. So you're floating at that height, and then you're stuck at the height. But with this air ability, I don't know if you've seen it, you can actually hold down the A button, and he gets a boost up into the air.
Okay.
And then you got to wait, and then A again, you boost up into the air again. Wonderful for levels like that jungle. Mm-hmm. You can dodge enemies more than actually engage them, and it makes it a lot easier. Then there's the water one, which allows you to go underwater and shoot squirts of water at people. Then there's I can't remember what the time one does. Oh god, and I finished it about a month ago. But there's also like a heaven one. If you finish everything 100%, you get this super buffed Firebrand, and he's practically invincible and can do pretty much everything. Mm-hmm. How many of those abilities did you see? Just the
2? Yeah, just the original 2. One's the fire one, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
And then the Earth one as well. Yeah.
And not only can you change his abilities, you can also pick up different shooting mechanics, which this is what I didn't like as well. And this is going back to Link's Awakening and why Nintendo remade it and made things a lot smoother and easier to change out weapons. You have to press start, and then it brings up that menu.
Yeah, and then you manually have to choose them.
Manually through, I don't know how many different settings there to, I want that one, I want that one, start and go back into the game. How long did you spend on the game, Nick?
I think altogether it was about an hour.
Okay.
I think with the 3 times that I played it. And I just think I wasn't really in the mood, like, because what I did play I actually did enjoy, but then I would get stuck or I would do something wrong and instead of like persevering on, I was just like, ugh. I just switched it off. So I mean, I don't actually hate the game. I think it looks good. As someone who never played Super Ghouls and Ghosts or the NES one, but has played them since, I would much rather play this than either of those 2 games. Much rather. This is way more enjoyable than Ghouls and Ghosts.
This is a game which I will admit I used a walkthrough because of the problems it's got. And the problems it's got is like you get fed up with it. I would have got fed up with it if I wasn't using a walkthrough. And the problem is everything is hidden in the game. Every single level, if you progress from beginning to end, you get to a boss. And that, okay. But every level has a second hidden boss. And not just bosses, I mean pickups. There are things you can pick up, vials for potions, which grant you powers. There are pickups for numerous things, and health ones are very important for some of the bosses, which we'll talk about shortly. You're going to need those health pickups, and you can't get them without having certain abilities. So this game is tailored around you spending, numerous hours learning the layout of the levels and then finding breakable walls. Breakable walls are telegraphed. You can see them. You can't break them until you get a specific power-up.
Yeah, I saw that in the first couple of levels. I figured like this wall you can break it, but I don't have what I need. So yeah.
And there are other certain secrets. There are some are treacherous. It's like over here there's a pit with spikes, and then over here there's a pit. Oh, it's not spikes. It takes me down to a new level, basically, of the level, and takes me to a new boss. Some of the hidden secrets are insidious. It's you've got to. I imagine as a kid you would have tried jumping down every single hole. And I died there, and then you would have remembered everything, but you just don't have time to do it now. So with a walkthrough, it did help, and I did finish the game. I didn't collect everything. I think the only thing I was missing was 1 potion vial and 1 health pickup, and the health pickup was the one that you got for smashing those skulls minigame. Did you come across any of the game's end bosses?
No. Definitely not.
No?
No, okay. Definitely not, unfortunately.
In that jungle world, if you went from the beginning to the end, and this is the kind of level structures, a lot of the levels, you can just jump through them. It's kind of like, yes, you can tackle the enemies and take it slowly, but a lot of the time, the enemies there, the wave kind of movements, if you know the kind of Castlevania, the floating skulls that come in, Medusa heads, they're all over the place. It's got similar things like that with birds coming out of the foliage, and it's easier just to run past them if you kind of know the pattern. So you just running past them, you get through to the boss, and the first time I played this boss is this fire boss. He sets the whole thing on fire, so you can't jump too high because there's fire above you. And he's dashing back and forth the stage. He's shooting these birds out, which are homing towards you. It's just so difficult. The bosses in this game, for the vast majority of them, are incredibly difficult, and they're bullet sponges. You're just hitting them for 20, 30 rounds, and it's going on, and he's not dying, and then I quit. I quit on that boss because I thought I must be missing something. I must need like a water element to beat the fire boss. I just can't take him down. But that's not the case. That is not the case at all. It's just persistence and save states.
Did you use save states and the rewind feature?
I use the rewind feature very often, mostly in the boss fights.
Well, let's get topical for this week. Do you feel like you have really, truly beaten Demon's Crest then?
I finished it. Have I beaten it? No, I haven't beaten it. Normally, I know it's been trending on Twitter.
Yeah. I've been laughing at all this stuff.
Yeah. I don't care. I finished it. That's all I care about.
Yeah. No, I would do exactly the same as you. But yeah. I do think if I got my SNES in 1992, and I think if me personally, if I'd got this game in 1994, I could easily see how it would have become one of my favorite games.
Oh yes, same here. Because just for having that time to go through every level numerous times and just learn it inside out and get all the health pickups. Definitely.
It plays well and it looks nice.
Yeah.
And I just think it is literally just a case of time. If I was like 8 or 9 years old and I had 4 hours on a Saturday and no other game to play, or if I had another game to play but I'd already beaten it, then I would do exactly what you explained. It would be jumping down every hole, standing on spikes, looking for... Because that's what we did. And that's how the game was designed, I guess. So I don't hold that against it. I mean, I think it's unfair to judge it by today's standards. I think probably back in the day it would have been a very good game. It's just not for me in 2019.
And as I use the walkthrough, I'm thinking of exactly what you just mentioned there, is that using the walkthrough is basically me short tracking, learning it all, and it made the game far more enjoyable because one, I didn't have the time to play it, but two, I think with a walkthrough I finished it in about 3.5, 4 hours maximum, and not 100%. There are good and bad endings. I got the worst ending.
Oh, really?
I think there are 3 of them. To get the worst ending, you just need to finish it. It doesn't matter how you finish it. The middle ending, you need to 100% collect everything and then do something else. And then the good ending is you do something after that again, which looks like this ridiculously hard final boss fight. Above moving platforms, above a lake of lava, and a very small hitbox for this enemy that's half the screen in size. So I didn't bother with that. But overall, did you enjoy your time with it?
I enjoyed it as much as I've enjoyed any of the SNES or NES games. Well, no, that's not true, because some of those NES games are absolutely horrendous. But as a way of seeing something that I never played before, there's a few games on the SNES and on the NES app which I can put on for 20, 30 minutes and enjoy. And eventually I'll get frustrated and switch it off, but yes, I did enjoy my time with it. And I maybe will one day go to the end of it.
I would recommend a walkthrough. just to save your time, basically. Time is precious. Get that walkthrough. You'll pick up the spells in the what they call vellum. For spells you need this. I forgot to mention it. You need these pieces of parchment. So you got to pick up pieces of parchment before you can even get spells in the shop. Potions, talismans, they all do something. It's what the last thing I want to say is that because of the lack of a manual, did you find out that in the flying sections, to make things easier, you can press the plus button, which would have been the start button in the day, to bring up a map of that flying area?
Yes, I did figure that out.
Good man. I didn't know until Greg said. Accidentally, yeah. It made it so much easier. And just little things like that, knowing, that's what that does, what that does, and how to use potions. But you have to go into the start menu when you're in a level, select the potion you want, which then gets in, and then press the X button during a level to use that potion. But to know what the potions do is trial and error as well.
Exactly.
You've got to try the potion before you can know what it does.
It's it's a real shame that they haven't done digital manuals, because
I know
we have tutorials now in games to teach us how to play. We don't need manuals anymore, but these games didn't have tutorials, so we kind of do need something basic controls or something.
It's so, I can't imagine someone who's never played the SNES before put this on. It would be so daunting to know, oh my god, I don't even know how to shoot.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And let alone finding a map for the flying section, which you wouldn't think you would have needed, but yeah, amazing. Digital manuals, please, Nintendo. Any last things to say about Demon's Crest?
From me, no, I don't think so. I think you covered it quite well.
Overall, I did enjoy it. I don't think I would have enjoyed it without a walkthrough and without save states and rewind feature. But yeah, memory serves me well. If you do want to play a good Firebrand game, get the Game Boy one. Let's have a Game Boy Classic, Nintendo. I'll definitely buy one of those. And we also Nick recorded a little chat with Dennis, who did play Demon's Crest as well. Have a listen and see what you think.
All right, so thanks, Lee. So we're just going to go to get some final closing thoughts from Dennis, who is one person who actually did play all the way through the game and actually did leave us some comments. So, Dennis, your comment that you gave to Lee was that you started the game yesterday. You've never played Gargoyle's Quest or Demon's Crest game, but you have played Super Ghouls and Ghosts. You said graphically it reminds me of Super Ghouls and Ghosts, I guess that is, so it felt familiar. I've played 3 levels so far and have not encountered any deal breakers except for the dip in frame rate. What I miss here is that the game does not tell you that you have to equip items or alternate forms you pick up. So you were pretty on the fence about it, I guess. Yeah, you said you were enjoying it, but there were some problems. So have you finished it then?
Yeah, I finished it a couple of weeks ago maybe. And yeah, it's a good game. It's like I said, it really reminded me graphically of the Super Ghouls and Ghosts game.
It's very similar.
Also, some enemies stay. Yeah, it's very similar. You can see that it's. I think it's a spin-off series of it.
Mm.
And you can see it on the sprites, the type of music, the type of enemies they use. But still, it feels quite different because with Super Ghouls and Ghosts, you have the. I think it's called Arthur the Knight, who has this double jump. Well, now you have a lot more freedom. You're this ghoul or this gargoyle, I think. You can just fly up in the air if you want. You can skip whole levels by just flying over them, which is quite interesting. I didn't think of that until after maybe over halfway. I thought, why am I running? Why am I not just flying past all this? I'm a flying gargoyle, for God's sake. And yeah, it was enjoyable. Yeah, like I said in the when I was playing it earlier, it's I think it's a product of the time. You know, it's this older SNES game.
Yeah.
It was a time where you had to stretch gameplay time a bit, so they're not really pinpointing you to where you have to find all the items. I think if you would play through it for a second time, you would recognize a lot of things you can come back to later on.
Yeah.
But on your first playthrough, you just don't notice it. Also, like I said, you know, you have to go into the menu, equip some of the different forms or items, or you call it.
Yeah.
I think that's something you usually read in the manual, but they don't do manuals anymore, so you just have to figure it out for yourself. I'm not sure. Are there in the SNES app? Can you pull up the manuals, or are they not included?
I tried to, and I guess you can't. I couldn't figure out how to do it. But yeah, I mean, I guess if you had bought the game in 1994, you would have got an instruction booklet or a manual with it, so that would have been more obvious, because I know other people had that problem as well. Did you find all the upgrades and items in the end, or not?
No, not yet.
No?
Or no, I didn't. I think I found all the forms, so all the alternative gargoyles you can turn into, but didn't find all the items. And I think if you do, you get the best ending, and there's also an extra level attached to it, but I didn't make it that far. But I did get all the forms, and I looked it up on Wikipedia, and I think then you get the middle ending, which is kind of like the good ending.
Okay.
If you finish the game without all the forms, I think then you get the bad ending, and I don't know what happens. So I got the middle ending, which for now satisfies all my Demon's Crest needs.
So you're not
think I can.
You're not gonna rush back and get the good ending then, the very good ending.
Not soon, no. If anything, I want to play Super Ghouls and Ghosts again.
Oh really? I don't know about that one. I definitely prefer Demon's Crest to Super Ghouls and Ghosts, definitely.
All right.
But I mean, I never played Ghouls and Ghosts as a child, so I've only played it.
Did you play the Gargoyles Quest or the?
No. I played Super Ghouls and Ghosts and the NES one. I played both of them, and I absolutely hate them. It's just not fun.
The NES one is terrible. It's super hard. It's insane.
It's just not fun.
No, but it's stupid because we had Super Ghouls and Ghosts on the SNES when I was a kid, and it was back in the days where you wouldn't mind playing a game like 30 times over.
It's true.
So I actually finished as a 9-10-year-old kid or something. I think I finished Super Ghouls and Ghosts, and now looking back to it, it's insane because it's such a difficult game.
I know.
Even now with the save states, some bits are excruciating, but as a kid I could play through it, and now I just don't have the time or the motivation anymore to pull those kind of things off.
No, it's the same
so
for me
really
as well.
Different time.
Yeah. So how long then? I guess you only finished Demon's Crest one time, yeah? You didn't get the bad ending and then get the good ending. You just finished it once, yeah?
Yeah, I just finished it once.
And how long from start to finish did it take you to do that?
Ooh, that's a really good question. I'm not sure if I can see. I have my Switch here with me. Let me quickly see if it does say a time in the save states.
I think Lee said it was about 3 hours for him.
Yeah, I think it could be something like that. 3 or 4 hours, I think.
Yeah. And I guess without save states, that would be a lot longer.
Yeah.
So
I think you have quite some continues.
yeah.
There's something like Super Ghouls and Ghosts doesn't have that. When you're game over, it's all back to the beginning. But this one's a little bit more forgiving. You can also stock up on some potions in town, so you have some extra lives.
That's true, actually. Yeah, you can. Yeah.
But yeah, to be honest, I use save states a lot. It's a really easy way to get through a game a bit more quickly. And I also looked up 1 or 2 things on the internet where I had to go next, just because I couldn't bring myself to going through 3 or 4 levels again, seeing what I missed.
Yeah.
And it's also not quite clear, because sometimes suddenly a new area opens up on the map, but it doesn't say you that it did, or it doesn't tell you what the conditions are. So that's a bit vague.
Yeah, that's true. What do you think then overall about the combat, let's say, and the movement? Because for me, I thought it was okay. Like, it doesn't feel like a relic, really. Like, I think the combat was okay, the movement was okay, and like as you touched on before, like, you can fly around the level in one of the forms, and it felt pretty okay mechanically to me. So what was your impression of it?
Yeah, I have the same feeling. It doesn't feel like it's that much outdated gameplay-wise. The only thing which is quite outdated is that you have to go into the menu often to switch items or forms.
Yeah,
I think if they would make, for example, a new part or a remaster, you can just tie it to the L and R button to cycle through it. But it's the same thing you see, for example, in the Link's Awakening remake.
Yep.
It's just a thing of the time. You had to go into the menu to change. Now it's all a bit more convenient. But gameplay-wise, it was good. You had the different type of attacks with the different type of gargoyles you can use. I must say, I think you also can buy some spells, but I didn't really use a lot of those. But yeah, it still plays good, and I think that's all in all. A lot of Super Nintendo games, they still play quite well. They have aged quite a bit, or they have aged quite good compared to, for example, the NES games.
Definitely aged better than NES games. That's true.
And same for the aesthetics and the graphics. The 16-bit or 32-bit, just as good. Audio is a little bit more up to par. So I think this will always remain a classic era which you can just keep playing and playing.
Yeah.
I don't think there will be a time that SNES games feel really outdated.
I agree. I don't think so either. But now, yeah, like going back to some of those NES games, it's just impossible. unfortunately.
Yeah, it's really hard. Yeah.
But all right then, overall, did you regret joining us on this little exercise, or were you glad that you went through
I'm glad,
Demon's
yeah.
Quest?
I think if Demon's Crest wouldn't have popped up for the PodPals, it would have been a while before I played it, because there were other games on the SNES app I would want to play first. Maybe I wouldn't even have played it at all. So it's a really cool way to discover games you would probably skip over usually. And I'm also quite interested that this won the vote, with I think Super Metroid was in, Super Mario World. Those are the classics, but maybe because everyone played those games before.
That's what I thought as well. I think it's because most people have already played them, and some people even play them every year. So I think it was just like, let's try something new.
Yeah, I must say, quite a while ago, when the SNES app just released, I played Super Mario World co-op with Glenn from the forums.
Ah, you did, yeah.
And that was really cool, just to play going through that game again.
Did you finish it?
Yeah, we finished it. Yeah,
excellent.
I think we did 2 or 3 runs.
Yeah,
it was quite a funny run. We first went into the Rainbow Road as fast as we could, just finish that, and after that we mapped up all the levels and all the secret exits and stuff like that.
Oh, so you got all 96 exit as well?
Yeah, indeed.
Oh wow, well done, good stuff.
And it's funny because I haven't played the game in years, but for some reason, some things I really couldn't remember anymore. And some levels I could just scoot through as if I played them yesterday.
Yeah.
So that's really quality game design they put into that game.
Yeah. Well, that's true. Some people still on the forums still meet up sometimes for SNES Online. So if anyone is listening and wants to have a game with somebody on Super Mario World or Mario Kart or Metroid or whatever, then have a look in the forums. And I'm trying to think. Me and Smeagol from the forums, we did River City Ransom when the NES app launched.
Oh, that's nice.
In 2-player, it's horrible. The frame rate is so bad.
Yeah, it just stutters all over the place, right?
But it was fun. It was a good laugh, and it is nice to visit these games again.
Yeah, I played some Super Soccer with Greg from the podcast, of course.
Yeah.
And he kicked my ass, but
of course he did.
It's really fun revisiting that game again.
It's one of his favourite games, I think. So.
Indeed.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, thank you very much for joining me and sharing your thoughts.
You're welcome.
And maybe we'll hear from you again soon in the future.
Thanks for watching, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button and give us a like if you've enjoyed our content. You can also check out our other great content on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and the N-E Café podcast from all good podcast providers. Just follow the links in the description below.